Oh, that's right.
With your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
Regular people should be in the Olympics so you can see how actually hard what some of these people are doing are. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rome Show in the morning here on 12ozsports.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, live. I am your host, Andrew Romanella, and we are excited to be with you here on a Wednesday morning. So much to talk about. Before we dive into that, we remind you at Coach Romo 24 on Instagram and Twitter, and at The Rome Show 1. You can also get me on Facebook in those lights as well. If you don't get any part of this show, you miss some of the show, you got to leave early because you have to be at work at a certain time. So we got to make sure, and maybe the Rome Show can't be on at work, but you're like, dude, for 20 minutes, that guy was electric. I need to watch the rest of this show. Well, you can get the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search The Rome Show podcast. And lastly, before we get into the fun of today, 12ouncesports.com is doing their Snowfest giveaway. You have 3 chances to enter the contest. The drawing will be, okay, plethora of prizes. We have a spin wheel. Do something to get on that spin wheel opportunity entry, right? And so there's 3 ways. Simple. Tickets.12ozsports.com/promo code ROME. That's ROME. Or mybookie.net, promo code 12OZSports, up to $1,000 back on your first bet. Or 12ozsports.com/ or wideworldshop.com. I mean, it's really like 3.5 ways to enter. Buy something and go ahead and tag us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook so we can see how good you look in your 12-ounce sports gear or how good you look in your Be Electric hoodie at wideworldshop.com. All right? So your choice. I thought I'd wear the Be Electric hoodie on the air today so everyone gets a vibe, all right? Really comfortable jaunt I got on right now, okay? This is a large. Fits me really nicely. Per a previous episode, something I like to do is enlighten my listeners with a lot of knowledge outside of sports. Have a great hoodie. You do not want to dry that because you're probably going to lose the comfort, the fuzziness, and it's most likely going to shrink. Like, no matter the type of hoodie, 100% cotton, 50% cotton, I don't care. Hoodies shrink in the dryer, okay? That's my belief, and I'm sticking to it. So when you buy your Be Electric hoodie, okay, at wideworldshop.com, Snowfest with 12OZ Sports, all right, and you're rocking the hoodie, just remember, air dry it, man. It's simple stuff, okay? And here's the Be Electric mug if you want to get your morning right. Which is exactly what you should be doing. So we get into the sports of it, and we are flipping the show today because I realized today's straight off. We're talking about those things, okay? But I figured what would be the straight off the Rome, we go around the wide world, okay? And then we can get ourselves straight off the Rome because there's some things in sports that we need to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to make sure we are all right, let's start with National Basketball Association. I'm sure a lot of people know this by now. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you're not a big basketball fan. Maybe you are a big. Cut to a commercial.
Yeah.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid. Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
That sounds great. All right, we are back here, and I am smiling because and I just want to admit to the people, I'm a mover when I talk, and I'm sure if you're somebody that listens to this show, you're not very surprised by that because you could see it on the air. But I like to be prepared, so I got a lot of things going on. I got this book here, I got the computer, and I got my hands and my feet that operate everywhere. Wires all over the place, which I thought I've done a good enough job of organizing. And so what's gone on here is I think I kicked my wire, and it definitely did not make for a good situation there. So what I'm going to do is, and this is my plan, I've moved myself back here, people, okay? I've tried to avoid anywhere around me where maybe I could mess this thing up, okay? I put a new wire in, all right? We got the new microphone. So I think as long as I don't mess this situation up, we should be good, okay? But I cannot promise anything. So at the end of the day, I think I set up something on the backside here where we might not always have to go to commercial break. But I'm pretty positive I got this figured out. Now, it's really just up to the human. Sometimes human error is probably a little bit more common than the computer error. Either way, we get back into Around the Wide World. All right, so we were talking about, prior to me messing this whole thing up, the Milwaukee Bucks firing their head coach. And I think it's an interesting conversation because part of what I'm talking about is more or less about what we've talked about in the past year. What is the standard for coaches? What is the line for coaches? This guy was 30-13. Okay, now I understand that the record of the team is not the full picture. I get that. I completely understand. But at the end of the day, if your team is 30-13 and your team is one of the better teams in the National Basketball Association, and over the course of the history in the NBA, what have we seen? We have seen teams that don't perform as well, are not as good to the eye, and do a lot of things during the regular season, and then in the postseason, okay, they step up. Oh, wow, all of a sudden they can go win a championship. Well, yeah, that makes sense because they're an NBA team, and to them, they're good enough to make the the postseason without having to care so insanely much about the postseason. That's the first point. But the second point is really this. It tells you really the dynamic and the shift in terms of how much control at all. But at the end of the day, okay, Giannis Antetokounmpo was not too happy about what was going on in Milwaukee. He was not too happy about the way the team was proceeding. He was not too happy about any of it. He just wasn't. And I don't know how deep it was. And one of the things that some of the articles I read pointed to was, oh, well, Giannis and Dame said that inside the locker room things weren't that great and tensions were high. I love that word. Tensions were high. All right, word. And maybe they were. And he had gotten into it with some other players at practice, and then one day in a timeout he had gotten into it with Giannis and yada, 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 yada. Okay? And then the defensive efficiency wasn't as good. And do not get me wrong. Okay? I 1,000% believe in defense, like without a doubt in my mind, no doubts about it. Absolutely believe in defense. But at the end of the day, okay, they're still 30-13. So their defense efficiency might have dropped from 4th to 22nd, but they're still 30-13, and they're still fighting for a playoff spot. So that's the thing to me that kind of makes that kind of doesn't make the most. That doesn't make sense to me. It's like, I get it. But maybe they are that bad defensively. Maybe he's that bad of a defensive coach. But in your first year, 30-13, like, I don't know. It was interesting. And then to finish the point, the name that came up is Doc Rivers. And I'm like, is that the guy you want? I mean, I'm not saying that Adrian Griffin was the guy either, right? But the team was 30-13, and I haven't really seen Doc Rivers win a championship sans that year with the Boston Celtics. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that they go hire Doc Rivers either, but I don't know. And Doc Rivers is going to get a team to the postseason, especially a veteran-laden team like that, but I just don't think that that's the right decision for the Milwaukee Bucks. So we'll see what happens there. In other news in the National Basketball Association, continuing around the wide world, Tristan Thompson from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, Tristan Thompson is still somebody that's playing basketball in the NBA. He's been suspended 25 games for violation of the league's anti-drug policy. I read something about like what he took is something that bodybuilders take and something along those lines. I have no clue. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no clue. I have no clue. But all I do know is that throughout the course of time for Tristan Thompson, he's been having some interesting issues. And so this is just another across the line. So interesting to see. He was averaging like 3.9 points, 3.9 rebounds in 12 minutes a game. So we're not talking about a guy that's going to completely change the way the Cavs play basketball. I was trying to figure out what word there, because I don't want to pretend like I'm not in their locker room. I'm not on the floor. Maybe he's been with LeBron. He's won a championship. He's been in the NBA for 13, 14 years, so he probably has a lot to bring to that team. But when you look at the numbers and what's really producing some victories, he's not necessarily like, oh my God, it's over for the Cavs. Either way. And to finish up with USA Basketball, all right, they have chosen the people that are going to be in the pool for who might possibly be at the Olympics for Team USA. A few of the names on here that I think are notable, besides LeBron's and Steph Curry's, which I think are names we all know. You got Kyrie Irving, which is annoying, and James Harden, which I'm done with them, and I don't think we need them on the USA team, nor should they be on the team, because you got like Tyrese Halliburton, Jimmy Butler's on there, Bam Adebayo, Trae Young, Chet Holmgren, the dude from OKC, buckets guy. So Jason Tatum's on there, Dame Lillard, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell. So a lot of names on there. And then like you see some certain names like Chris Paul. I'm good. James Harden. I'm good. Right? Like there are some dudes. I'm good. Like give me some of these young cats that are excited to win their first gold medal, that want that. I'm not saying like LeBron and those dudes don't. They put their name in the pool to be on the USA team, but they've done it. They've been there. LeBron was on the Redeem team, right? So I'm just saying, I want to leave no doubt, right? I want to leave no doubt. So, and I feel like the young guys would bring USA there in a really nice way. So, all right. And lastly, before we continue on and we go straight off of the Rome. So, I watched the Knicks play the Nets last night, and I thought it was super interesting because the Nets are like a pretty fumbling team right now. And the Knicks are really starting to be a type of a surging team. Yeah, that's the word we're looking for. Surging team, okay? And at the end of the day, okay, I think there's finally basketball hope for the city of New York. And not from the Brooklyn Nets side, because that was terrible the other day, watching them blow 22-point lead, or 21-point lead, 22 points straight or whatever it was, without scoring at the end of the game. And then against the Knicks last night, up 10, lose the lead. So at the end of the day, it seems like the Nets are not going to be a good team. But that wasn't why I wanted to bring it up. Why I wanted to bring it up is because we talk about New York as the mecca of basketball, Madison Square Garden, the birthplace of basketball. Well, we need the Knicks to be good. To really hammer that point home, we need the Knickerbockers to be good. So it's pretty good and pretty fun and cool to see the Knicks finally starting to do that. And on top of that, Terry Rozier was traded to the Miami Heat for Kyle Lowry to the Hornets. Lowry probably won't be on the Hornets, so interesting to see what happens there. But Terry Rozier on the Miami Heat, averaging 20 a game. So, I mean, that's a good ad for the Heat. So, something interesting to see as we move down the line and we get ready for some playoff time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rome Show in the morning here on 12OZ Sports, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter live. Catch us on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like. The Rome Show 1 and Coach Romo 24, all right? We take this commercial break, and then we go straight off the Rome talking about MLB Hall of Fame voting, the stupidity of it, and I think somebody that just got knocked off the ballot that deserves to be in, but because of one report that happened at one point in his career, he's now no longer a Hall of Famer. That and maybe a little bit more after this.
Yeah.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
All right, welcome back into the Rome Show in the morning here on 12ozsports.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, live. I am Andrew Romanella, that's me, and we are coming to you live until about 7:30 in the morning, and it's Monday through Friday. Just remember that. And because we are on the backup mic right now, ladies and gentlemen, we've unfortunately lost the sounders and the music. But to me, I don't care about that because it's not about the sounders and the music. It's about you and me talking and having a great conversation about sports. I remind you that you have to enter the Snowfest competition. All right, 12OZ tickets.12ozsports.com. Promo code ROME, 5% off. MyBookie.net, up to $1,000 first bet. Just prove it. Send an email showing us that you signed up and you bet you're in there. Or buy some apparel, wideworldshop.com or 12ozsports.com. And then tag us on the social media. We love that stuff. Okay, and I promise, I will work my tail off to get my music and everything back. But I think I broke something when I kicked this thing, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. And I'm going to have to figure that out as well. But you can't say that when you tune into the Rome Show, you're not going to get excitement. How about that? All right. So straight off the Rome today. Here it is. So they voted for the Hall of Fame yesterday. Okay. And I don't know. And there might be people that listen to this show that have never really listened to my podcast in the past. And this is something I have talked about in the past. I think it's something that a lot of people have talked about in the past because at the end of the day, it's frustrating and it's annoying. All right. And I, ladies and gentlemen, wanted to bring to you some statistics and some information that I thought would be worthy of you having an idea of like, all right, what do we got? What do we got? Why are you so fired up? Why do you not agree with Major League Baseball? Why do you not agree with the Hall of Fame stuff? All right, so here's what you get and why, okay? So, Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and Joe Mauer were all voted into the Hall of Fame yesterday, okay? Adrian Beltre and Joe Mauer were voted in on their first ballot, and then Todd Helton on his sixth, okay? I always found it interesting that, this is my first point, I always found it interesting that you have a Hall of Fame, okay? And Hall of Fame is dedicated to the best players to play the game, right? Like, besides just breaking records, like, you should remember those players for the course, for over the history of time. Like, that's just a fact, okay? But you can get voted in on your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th ballot. And I agree, I understand that that opinions and thoughts can change. But because the way the MLB voting system is set up for the writers to have the power, that becomes a thing. Because writers have to get over their gripe where I don't believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, he's a third ballot Hall of Famer. Is he? Because if he's a Hall of Famer, he's a Hall of Famer. So he should just be in the Hall of Fame. However, you can be voted in on the 6th try, the 7th try, the 8th try. It doesn't matter. So, what I'm trying to tell you people is this. Todd Helton was voted in on his 6th try, okay? Well, someone else on that ballot, a guy by the name of Gary Sheffield, okay, was not voted in on his 10th opportunity on the ballot. And what's so significant about your 10th opportunity on the ballot is that is one of two barometers. So to stay on the ballot, you must get at least 5% of the vote. Okay? So David Wright got like 5.6% of the vote. David Wright stays on the ballot going into next year. Okay? Now, you get 10 years worth of opportunities, and after the 10th year, if you don't get 75% of the vote, which is what votes you in to the Hall of Fame, okay, well, then you're knocked off the ballot. Now, there's something called Veterans Committee that you could possibly get voted into later on. That's essentially saving a lot of older players that, I don't know, maybe they had racism that went against them with voters at the time when they were eligible for the Hall of Fame. Maybe they had to go to war, and so their career might not be looked at the same. Or maybe it's just the fact that they played through any time period, and people are idiots. Writers are idiots. They don't actually know what they're doing because, unfortunately, they make it personal. And so the Hall of Fame is not 100% right and not 100% correct. Okay? And here's my problem with it. Gary Sheffield, just so you are aware, has 509 home runs, 292 batting average. He drove in 1,676 runs, okay, and had 2,689 hits. So he was 311 hits away from 3,000, which is a common, if you get 3,000 hits, you're a Hall of Famer. And he was 9 home runs over the 500 home run mark, which is essentially a moniker for you hit 500 home runs, you make it to the Hall of Fame. However, Gary Sheffield was labeled on the Mitchell Report. And so for those of you that don't remember the Mitchell Report was some BS report that was put out by some guy that researched and figured out who was doing steroids and who wasn't doing steroids. Okay, that's great and all. The Mitchell Report ain't an official document. It's not an indictment. It's not saying that this guy 1,000% did steroids. Okay? So that's the first part of it. Why? Why is it because his name was on... Was Gary Sheffield ever suspended for steroids? I don't remember that. Do you? And if I'm wrong, please reach out to me. The Rome Show 1 or Coach Romo 24, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, dude. Email. I don't care. Reach out. But I don't remember Gary Sheffield ever being suspended for steroids. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about the steroids, to be completely honest with you. It's about the writers. What are we doing? Like, this is stupid now. Who are these idiots? Why did they get to vote for these people in the Hall of Fame? Why is their word so important that they're the gatekeeper to the most sacred place of the game, of every game? If I'm in basketball, being a Hall of Famer is electric. I mean, isn't that what everyone wants? So now you have these clowns, idiots, people that, yeah, you're good at your job probably. You do write good stories. You cover the team well. But if one of those players pissed you off one day, if they didn't give you the right response after a press conference, right? Well, now you're going to hold it against them. If you think they did steroids, then you're all of a sudden going to say, no, I'm not going to vote him in, or he doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're an idiot. Sorry. You, that writer, is an idiot. And baseball needs to change this. The Writers Association should no longer control the vote for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. It's just ridiculous, okay? Because you get situations like this, okay? Alex Rodriguez gets 63 or whatever percent of the vote. Wherever you got 34%, excuse me, I flipped that. Alex Rodriguez is 35% of the vote. I don't disagree that he's kind of a scumbag for the way he treated people during his time, okay, of being with the New York Yankees and it coming out that he had taken steroids with the Rangers and blah, 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 blah. I don't disagree with you. But at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers. And the funny part about baseball is, and every sport, I mean, let's be serious. You can take steroids and go play football and still get cut. Like, that's a fact. Like, you look at The Rock, by the way. Look at Dwayne Johnson. I think it's hard now for people to look at The Rock and be like, he didn't make it to the NFL? Wow, that's wild. No, it's not wild. Just because he's yoked, he's phenomenally, like, yoked. I mean, it's wild. You look at The Rock and you're like, I don't know if that's a real person or if it's a statue. but yet didn't make it to the NFL. Because just because you take steroids does not mean now all of a sudden, oh, I'm Tom Brady. I popped some needles. I'm yoked. I went to the gym. Now I have muscles. Now I can throw the football on a dime in between those two cornerbacks. Oh, no, I'm good now. Yeah, no. Hey, guys, I took a cycle of steroids. Didn't hit all offseason. Nope, didn't take a ground ball. Didn't hit. But when I see 100, I'm going to hit it. Oh, but when I also see 86, I'll be able to hit that and recognize it too. Or a changeup, I got that. No. I'm not saying that it can't not help them. I'm not saying that it can't not put maybe 50 or 60 more balls over the fence if they're actually hit beautifully. But if you look at a lot of these guys' home runs, it's like, I bet Barry Bonds hit so many home runs where if you took 20 to 30 feet away, it'd still be over the fence, right? It's like, what are we talking about? It's the skill of the sport. It's be able to execute the sport, and it's the numbers, okay? Unless a commissioner comes down and says, hey guys, we are Pete Rosing these people. They are not allowed to be in this club anymore because they cheated the game, okay? Got it. I don't agree with Pete Rose. That's a whole nother live radio show in its own right, okay? But at the end of the day, if somebody came down and said that, I'm cool, dog. Fine, right? Fine. I don't agree, but at least it's somebody that's in the chair of leading Major League Baseball, and it's not some idiot writers that might have had a gripe or might have been mad at these people or might have disagreed with something they did during their career or anything of its like. That's just a fact. So, for me, I think Gary Sheffield gets screwed. Barry Bonds gets screwed. Probably Sammy Sosa gets screwed. Mark McGwire gets screwed. And we can have an argument on whether or not they're actually Hall of Famers. But for one quick second, if you hit 600 home runs in Major League Baseball, 700 home runs in Major League Baseball, if you have 509 home runs in Major League Baseball, if you have 2,698 in your hit column in Major League Baseball with 500 home runs and over a 290 batting average, I am sorry. You should be in the Hall of Fame, especially if there's no official proof. Again, please correct me if I am wrong. If there is official proof on Gary Sheffield having been proven to have taken steroids or any performance-enhancing drug, I need you to reach out to me. But at the end of the day, there is not. So the Baseball Writers Association should no longer be able to vote for the Hall of Fame. And to finish off my point, I need you to look at these numbers. And hey, by the way, this is no disrespect. Okay, zero disrespect to Todd Helton. I'm a big Todd Helton fan. Huge Todd Helton fan. Love the way he played in Colorado. But listen to these numbers real quick. 369 home runs. Cool. 316 batting average. Electric. That is awesome. 1,406 RBIs. 2,519 hits. I mean, what? Dude, look at those numbers real fast, okay? And say to yourself, if I put those two up against each other, who's the surefire Hall of Famer and who's not? And you're like, oh, Gary Sheffield's definitely the surefire Hall of Famer because the only thing that Todd Helton has that's better than Gary Sheffield is the batting average. But Gary Sheffield blows him out of the water in all the other categories. So you're telling me that one report 30 years ago by some jabroni that has no idea is what you're going to not vote Gary Sheffield into the Hall of Fame on? What are we doing? I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, actually. Screw you, Baseball Writers Association, because you have no clue what you're doing. Those guys are idiots. They're taking personal feelings over the course of their career, and they're putting it into the voting of the most important hallway in the history of the game. And here's my last point. Here's the last thing on my roam this morning. Okay? When you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, okay? When you go, what do you look at? What is it? What is the Baseball Hall of Fame? Andrew in the back. Oh, yeah, okay. The Baseball Hall of Fame, it is a museum. Okay. What's a museum? Other Andrew in the other back. A museum is where you put pictures and artifacts and things to tell history of something. So if it would be a baseball museum, it would tell you the history of the game of baseball. Anyone else have any questions? Other Andrew in the back. Yeah. So if the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame is a museum, okay, but Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and Gary Sheffield and Alex Rodriguez and Roger Clemens and all the other people that they quote unquote Mitchell Report think did steroids, and some of them did, right? Some of them were proven to, like A-Rod. But you get what my point is, okay? Even A-Rod proven to do steroids. Follow me here. So are they in the museum? Oh, that's a great question, Third Andrew. Yeah, they are in the museum. And you know why? Why? Because you can't tell the history of the game without them. So you're telling me that I'm going to go to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm going to walk down lines. I'm going to look at Pete Rose's bat, 4,000 hits, Barry Bonds' cleats, Barry Bonds' bats, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, A-Rod, Roger Clemens. I'm going to look at all of it. It's going to tell me the history of the game. But they can't be voted in? So they're in the Hall of Fame, but they're not in the Hall of Fame. Someone please explain that to me. And don't look any farther. Don't look any farther. They're in the Hall of Fame, but they can't be in the Hall of Fame. Why? Why would you say that? Oh, well, because these guys are idiots. And I'm over the steroids thing, man. I'm over it. Every sport has its issues. A. B. It saved the game of baseball. C. You're all liars if you didn't have a great time watching baseball in the late 90s and early 2000s. What? And C. I don't care what you tell me. I do not care. You could take a year's worth of a cycle of steroids. If you do not train at the highest level, professional baseball players are 2% of the population. You cannot do this. You are an idiot sitting there writing your article thinking you can hit 100 or 88 on the corners with break. You're dumb. And so you then, they cheated. No, they didn't. It wasn't illegal. Well, I'm sorry, it wasn't illegal at the time. And by the way, it's not a baseball enhancing drug. It is a performance enhancing drug that you have to be good at the sport to enhance the performance. And hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure out something. Who is Babe Ruth? Oh, Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time. Is he? Or is he a womanizer? Is he a dude that was an alcoholic? Is he a dude that probably took greenies, aka Adderall, before games, so he could be the best player ever? I'm sorry, but if baseball writers were in 1912, like today though, because in 1912 it was a boys club, bro. It was like me and these. Oh, it's the Babe. Like I want to be on the Babe's side. I ain't gonna write a bad article about the Babe. I'm not gonna pretend like Babe's cheating on his wife. I'm not gonna pretend like Babe Ruth ain't just a terrible human being. Nah, because he's the Babe. Well, now it's not that way, and it shouldn't be that way. If you're a bad person off the field, we should know it. Yeah, screw you. Kids shouldn't look up to you. You don't deserve the spotlight. We shouldn't really care what your word is if you're not being a good person. Okay? And on top of that, and we're not even talking about performance enhancers, because by the way, okay, some of the best people in that Hall of Fame, probably with the writers and the media today, would not be in that Hall of Fame if that's how we judge them. I don't know. Is it a hall of how good of a human being you are, or is it a hall of how good are you at the sport? It can't be both. And I don't agree with you being a bad person or cheating or taking drugs to be better at a sport. However, if there is no rule against it and you are the best player at that sport, Hall of Fame level, I'm confused. What are we talking about? I'm sorry. What are we talking about? And I get it, right? There is a rule now that states steroids are illegal in the game of baseball. But when Mark McGwire was doing interviews with steroids behind him in his locker, I don't remember the commissioner coming down and saying, hey, Mark, you're suspended for 40 games. I actually remember them being like, we need more Mark. Sammy. Home run competition. I mean, like, come on, man. And before I blow a gasket today and go into cardiac arrest because I'm so mad at this topic, I just don't know how it changes without somebody in Major League Baseball having the same type of opinion I am. And not just in Major League Baseball, but up there in Major League Baseball. And I've heard of writers giving up their vote because there's some type of bias. You know what, dude? That's what it should be. There should be no bias here. So to finish, straight off the Rome, here's what needs to happen. We need to come up with a Hall of Fame committee. There are boards that run universities, so the president can't just make whatever decision he wants. Somebody has to figure that out. So let's get a board of former players, current Hall of Famers, former managers, former maybe umpires, and former MLB executives. Let's get a board of those people together. Let's make it an odd number, so every time that we vote, there's always a solution to the problem. Oh, hey, listen, we have 13 people on this committee. We need a 7-6 win for this person to stay on the ballot. And then we need a 7-6 win for this person to be a Hall of Famer. Done. Over. Conversation done. There's not 237 idiots that have no idea what they're talking about, probably never played baseball at a high level, don't even know how hard the sport is, but just want to find reasons to hate these guys because they're clowns, and just because the player didn't do exactly what the reporter wanted or didn't act the way the reporter wanted, the reporter's going to screw him. But yeah, we didn't live that way for forever, though, because back in the day, it's not how it was, but now it's how it was. The last 25, 30 years, now we're the judge, jury, and executioner on we're the moral police for Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. No, you're idiots. This should not be a thing anymore. Create a committee of people that played the game, people that coached the game, people that umpired the game, and people that designed teams to win in the game. That's it. That's all you need. Get the writers, get them the hell out of here. They don't deserve any of that power, and then we will actually get the true Baseball Hall of Fame. All right. Daily data to finish today on the Rome Show in the morning. Here it is. Adrian Beltre, who deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, he finished with a career batting average, with a career stat line of over 400 home runs and 3,000 hits. Did you know that Adrian Beltre is only one of 4 players in Major League Baseball history to have over 400 home runs and 3,000 hits? And I'm not about to indict Adrian Beltre here, but I just want to say, he didn't win his first All-Star. He didn't make his first All-Star game until he was 31 years old. 31. First All-Star game. 31 years old. Huh. I wonder if Adrian Beltre took steroids. I'm not saying he did. I'm not. But if we look at the first 10 years of Barry Bonds' career and the next 10 years, and we're like, oh, it had to be Balco, this, that, the other thing. Look how big his body is. Look at Adrian Beltre. He got a whole lot bigger. Look at Joe Mauer. Maybe that's not what we should be looking at. Oh, sorry, I digress. Adrian Beltre, congratulations on the Hall of Fame. One of 4 to ever have over 400 homers and 3,000 hits. That's super impressive. Joe Mauer, awesome. And hey, Todd Helton too. I just think it's ridiculous what's going on with the writers. This has been the Rome Show in the morning here on 12OZ Sports. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter Live, the Rome Show 1, Coach Romo 24. Enter the Snowfest competition. Do all of those cool things. I will work on fixing what I've broken today so that we have the sounder and the fun music back. But at the end of the day, what we learned today is even through crazy chaos created by Romo, we can still have a great Rome Show. See you guys tomorrow.